April 16th, 2017, Easter Sunday. A man in Cleveland, Ohio pulls out his phone, opens Facebook, and starts a live stream. Thousands of people tune in. They're expecting what? A rant? A confession? Maybe some entertainment? What they get is something that has never happened before in human history. They watch a murder. In real time, as it happens. This is the story of the first murder ever live-streamed on social media, and how it changed everything about violence, privacy, and what we're willing to watch. To understand what happened on April 16th, you need to understand Steve Stevens. On paper, he looked like someone who had it all together. 37 years old, a bachelor's degree in psychology, from Cleveland State University. He worked as a case manager for a behavioral health agency, literally helping people through mental health crises. People who knew him described him as friendly, professional, someone who genuinely cared about helping others. But beneath that surface, Steve Stevens was unraveling. In the months leading up to Easter Sunday, his life was falling apart. His girlfriend, Joy Lane, had broken up with him. He was struggling financially. He felt isolated, angry, out of control. On the morning of April 16th, Stevens posted a message on Facebook claiming he was going to kill someone. He blamed Joy Lane for his actions, saying she was the reason he was about to do something crazy. Nobody took it seriously. People post dramatic things on social media all the time. Breakup rants, emotional outbursts, threats that never materialize. But Steve Stevens wasn't bluffing. Robert Godwin Sr. was 74 years old, a grandfather, a retired foundry worker who loved fishing. On Easter Sunday, he'd just left his daughter's house after dinner. It was a beautiful spring day in Cleveland. He was walking home on East 93rd Street when a white Ford Fusion pulled up beside him. Steve Stevens rolled down the window. His phone was mounted on the dashboard. Facebook Live was already running. "Can you do me a favor?" Stevens asked. Robert walked closer. He probably thought someone was just asking for directions. He had no idea what was about to happen. Stevens asked Robert to say a woman's name. Joy Lane. Robert, confused but polite, repeated it. Joy Lane. Then Stevens said the words that would haunt everyone who watched the video. "She's the reason this is about to happen to you." You can see it in Robert's face. The moment he realizes something is very, very wrong. Stevens pulls out a handgun. Robert raises his hands. His voice trembles. "I don't even know nobody by that name." Steve Stevens shoots him in the head. Robert Godwin Sr. falls to the ground, dead. Stevens keeps the camera rolling. He shows Robert's body lying on the sidewalk. Then he drives away. The entire thing, from the moment Stevens pulled up to the moment he drove away, took less than 30 seconds. And it was all captured on Facebook Live, streaming in real time to anyone who clicked on his profile. At the time of the shooting, hundreds of people were watching live. By the time Facebook took the video down, which took over 2 hours, it had been viewed thousands of times. But here's the thing about the internet. Once something is out there, it never really goes away. People screen recorded the video, downloaded it, shared it on other platforms. Within hours, the murder of Robert Godwin Sr. was everywhere. Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, World Star Hip Hop. Facebook removed the original video around 11 a.m. About 2 hours after it was posted, but by then the damage was done. The video went viral, and Robert Godwin's death became content. Cleveland police immediately issued a manhunt for Steve Stevens. His face was plastered across every news channel. The FBI got involved. A $50,000 reward was offered. But Stevens had vanished. In the hours after the murder, he posted more videos on Facebook. Not live this time, just pre-recorded rants. He claimed he'd killed over a dozen people that day. Police scrambled to verify his claims. Had he really killed more people? They searched for bodies, investigated missing persons reports, checked hospitals. They found nothing. Robert Godwin Sr. was his only victim. For 2 days, Steve Stevens was one of the most wanted men in America. Sightings were reported across multiple states. Tips flooded in. The manhunt went nationwide. Then, on April 18th, 2 days after the murder, a McDonald's employee in Erie, Pennsylvania recognized him. Stevens pulled up to the drive-thru and ordered a 20-piece chicken McNugget and large fries. The employee saw his face. She knew exactly who he was. She stalled, told him to pull forward, then called 911. Police surrounded the McDonald's. When Stevens saw the cops approaching, he tried to flee. A short chase ensued, and then Steve Stevens pulled out the same gun he'd used to kill Robert Godwin. He put it to his own head and pulled the trigger. Steve Stevens died on a random street in Erie, Pennsylvania. The manhunt was over, but the questions it raised were just beginning. Robert Godwin Sr.'s family was devastated. His daughter Debbie said, "My heart is broke. I wish I could have been there to protect him. But I know he's in a better place now." But they also had to live with something else. The fact that their father's murder was online. That strangers had watched him die. That the video was still circulating. even after Facebook tried to delete it. Imagine that. Your loved one is murdered and you can't escape it because it's everywhere. Facebook faced intense criticism for how long it took to remove the video. 2 hours. In internet time, that's an eternity. Why did it take so long? Facebook's response was that they rely on users to report content. The video had to be flagged multiple times before it was reviewed by moderators. Then it had to be assessed, then removed. But people asked, if Facebook can instantly detect copyrighted music in a video, why can't they instantly detect a murder? The truth is they can, they just hadn't prioritized it yet. After the Steve Stevens case, Facebook and other social media platforms started developing better AI detection. For violent content, they hired more moderators, created faster response protocols, but the damage was done. The world had seen what could happen when social media meets real-time violence. And this wasn't the last time it would happen. Since 2017, there have been multiple instances of violence live-streamed on social media. The Christchurch mosque shooting in New Zealand in 2019, where the shooter live-streamed his attack on Facebook, killing 51 people. Countless assaults, fights, and acts of violence broadcast on Instagram Live, TikTok, and other platforms. Suicides live-streamed for attention, for revenge, for an audience. Steve Stevens opened a door that can't be closed. The Steve Stevens case forces us to confront some really uncomfortable truths. First, social media platforms have become crime scenes. Murder isn't something that happens in dark alleys anymore. It happens on your timeline, in your feed, while you're scrolling through vacation photos and memes. Second, we've turned violence into content. The video of Robert Godwin's murder was shared millions of times. Some people watched it out of morbid curiosity. Others shared it to spread awareness. But the result is the same. A man's death became viral content. Third, there's no going back. You can't uninvent live streaming. You can't stop people from having cameras in their pockets 24/7. Technology has made it possible to broadcast anything, anywhere, anytime. So what do we do? Some people argue for stricter content moderation, AI systems that can detect violence instantly and shut down streams before they spread. Others argue that's censorship, that we can't trust corporations to decide what we're allowed to see. There's no easy answer. But what we do know is this. Steve Stevens wanted attention. He wanted an audience. He wanted his pain, his anger, his violence to matter to someone. And social media gave him exactly what he wanted. Robert Godwin Sr. didn't deserve to die. And he definitely didn't deserve to have his death turned into entertainment. But that's what happened, because in 2017, murder became shareable. Violence became clickable. Death became content. And we're still figuring out what that means. For more live-streamed murders like this, follow Scream Index. Face the darkest corners of human nature. If you dare.